All right, the Aztec Fast Showcase coming up this weekend. Spring practice well underway, nearing its conclusion. John Schaeffer with the head coach of the Aztecs, Sean Lewis. A lot to get into, and Coach, great to see you. Thanks for doing it.
Great to see you too, man. Fresh Jays, like them.
I appreciate that.
Awesome.
Appreciate that. I like yours.
Yeah, a little bit different vibe. Yep.
Let's talk about a year later, your second spring with San Diego State. Where do you feel like this program is compared to where you were 12 months ago?
Yeah, we're in a great spot. You know, obviously it's year one with this team, but year two of our leadership within the program. I think the continuity of that leadership and the continuity of the players that, you know, decided to stay around and continue to finish the business that they started has been instrumental in the growth that we've had. And I just, the vibes in the building, the culture that we've built, the standards and expectations that the team has embraced and that they're holding themselves accountable to each and every single day has been really, really great to see.
When you look at your offense specifically up front, you've had a number of additions over the last handful of months. How do you feel about that group and how they've performed so far this spring?
Yeah, I feel really good about the competitive depth that we have up front. Being able to put Ross back at his natural position of center, and again, his conceptual understanding of all the things that we're doing has been great. He's been able to get everyone up front on the same page, and the rate and the speed that he is able to give and receive information is allowing us to play at the pace and the tempo that we want to. Christian Jones has really emerged. I mean, the number of game reps that he got, you know, both starting the season at guard and as he was training to play guard last year, and then with the injury to Joe kicking out to play tackle, has really given him some positional flex, but he's done a tremendous job really holding down the left tackle spot, and that's been really good to see. Tyler McMahon, again, a kid who got a ton of game reps as we came down the stretch last year at that right guard position, has been doing a really good job. And then Dallas Fincher and Bio have done a really nice job as the new additions really settling in, you know, early on. The install, the uptake, the pace of play, I think kind of overwhelmed both of them, but they've gotten their legs underneath them. And here, as we're, you know, coming down the stretch, their understanding of not only the schemes, but more importantly, the technique and the mindset that is required to play this style of ball. And then with the tenacity and the demeanor that Coach Schmidt demands, that has led to greatness in the units that he's coached, I really, really feel good about where we are there up front right now.
What's the relationship like between linemen and a quarterback room? Every year you have new groups, whether it's linemen, certainly this year with quarterbacks as well. How important is that rapport between linemen and the quarterbacks?
Yeah, critically important, right? I mean, you talk about two groups, one individual and the quarterback, but obviously the group of those five offensive linemen up front, that everyone needs to be unified and aligned and seeing it through the same set of eyes, so that in terms of the identification and knowing who's responsible for whom is critically important, right? So those guys spending good time together, building that rapport and understanding of what we need to get done, but then also just having a kinship, you know, to one another and being able to go to bat for one another. And, you know, all the quarterbacks that have been getting reps have been doing a great job of loving those boys up, because we're going to talk about the quarterbacks, we're going to talk about the skill, we're going to talk about all the skinny guys that make all the flashy plays, man, but without those bigs up front, you know, nothing goes. And Jaden and Bert and Crum all understand how important those guys are in front of them.
What have you hoped to see from these quarterbacks over the course of the last handful of weeks, and have they accomplished what you're hoping to see?
Yeah, I mean, early on, right, the first 5 practices, you just want them to get comfortable operating within the scheme and really knowing what each call, what each rule, what each tool is, you know, that they have at their disposal, right? And then from there, you want to see the growth of how to apply all that knowledge that they've learned in a very efficient and explosive manner. And as we come down the stretch here this last week, right, you really want them to take a deeper dive now to not only understanding, all right, what is it that we're doing and how you need me to get it done, but why are we doing it the way that we are, so we can understand the strengths and the weaknesses of the call, so that as we grow and as we evolve through the summer and into training camp, they know how to become the best problem solver on the field and operate versus premium looks versus where, hey, this isn't an ideal situation and we can get to a better answer because of that depth of knowledge that they have within the playbook.
You've added Christian Washington to your running back room. Yep. You have a number of returnees as well. Obviously, you're replacing a lot of production, but how do you feel about that room and where you're heading coming off last year.
Yeah, really good. Lucky Sutton's done an unbelievable job, and it goes back to day one last year of everything, right? He's one of the most humble kids. He's quiet, but man, is he hungry. And he's done an unbelievable job of working while he's been waiting. And that hard work has really led to some great production this spring. Been very, very pleased with him and him just understanding that the good Lord made him big, and he's been running big and playing behind his pads. And, he's got a unique size and speed combination that's pretty special. And then Christian has come in and, it's kind of slowed early on in camp here in spring ball with some injuries and different things, but has really gotten back healthy, gotten his legs underneath him, and he started to flash and he started to pop here, really right before spring break. And after spring break, you saw him, whether it was getting confidence or getting comfortable with what we were doing, but who he is and why we brought him here has really started to shone through. So excited about the room, excited about, all the things that the guys bring, and we'll probably be able to use all those guys and their skill set in a culmination, right, in a lot of different ways, as opposed to just having, kind of one bell cow the way that we did a year ago.
What does another year look like for Jordan Napier as he ages, gains the experience, returns to your program, and how does he complement the rest of the receiving room?
Yeah, just having a sense of urgency to continue to grow and develop, which he's done a great job of, and becoming a vocal leader in not only the offense, but within the locker room, right? Like he's got such an infectious personality that's really contagious, that his confidence and his swagger is something that's going to rub off on the offensive unit to give the offense an identity, right? And so now it's, hey, letting that bleed through the program, and then for him individually, right? Like we've been overloading him with how much he can handle, right? Like, can we move you around? Can you understand everything conceptually so that, you're not just a stationary target because you're just lined up in one spot, but can we, what's that tipping point? Where's that fine line of, all right, hey, this is too much and we're getting too cute, versus, hey, this is too little and they're going to know where you're going to be, so that, as much as he can handle, he's been doing a great job with it. We're going to keep, loading some things on and stretching his mental so that he can grow and develop and become a complete all-around wide receiver and be that explosive playmaker, that he's capable of being and that we need him to be as we go into 2025.
On the other side of the football, you have so much experience returning for you in 2025. What is that like in terms of going into 2025, knowing some of the production you're going to receive?
Yeah, well, it was frustrating early in spring ball, right? Because the defense was so far ahead and getting after the offense's butt a little bit, right? But that's the beauty of being the head coach. They just, hey, like, good job, D, right? Know, so, but it's great at each level, of the defense. We have a true alpha dog, a true leader that's being vocal, and that is, peer to peer, teammate to teammate, really holding guys accountable. And I say that in a very, very positive way, right? Like, it starts with Trey up front and demanding more of himself and the guys along the D line. And then Tano champions that at the second level and demanding more out of that group and really driving and communicating everything that's going on within the defense. And then at the third level, right, you got, a guy like Eric Butler and Chris Johnson and then Delshawn Staley, who we probably don't talk enough about with how valuable he is to what we do. And then you bring in the additions of Josiah Cox and Dwayne McDougal. Like, there's some guys that are really flying around and doing some great things. And it's been great to have that continuity and consistency that has really, I think, accelerated the growth of our defense. And it's, been a great challenge and a good back and forth and high level of competition each and every single day that we go out on the field.
As important as the spring is for the players, what is it like for you with your staff when you have coordinator changes, even though you've had coaches with you?
Sure.
What is that like going through it as a head coach, working with people in new positions for 2025?
It's great. Like, this is one of my favorite times of the year, right? Like, just the growth and development that you see within all the people within the organization is just, it's so exciting, right? Like, it keeps your batteries full and it gets you full of juice because you have the time and just the cadence and the rhythm of the weeks and of the days. You really get to pour into the guys and the players and help them grow and develop. But then also, you're not just like practice game. The pace of it, you're on the field. You have a chance as a staff to then really, okay, hey, the next time we go out in 2 days, we're going to really hit this situation. So it's been great. We've been, championing the new staff members and and giving them opportunity to stand in front of the team and teach situational football. So like different guys have gotten to step up, and not only the new coordinators, but other assistant coaches and present in front of the team. And it's been awesome to be able to, watch the staff members do that, and then be able to offer a few critiques here and there so that they can be better teachers ultimately, which is going to help us, be better teachers and better learners as we get into training camp. So it's been a lot of fun. And again, we're just with the continuity that we've been able to keep on staff, I think it's just been helping us lead even better. And the kids have been really, really receptive, and they've been doing better. And we're just in a really healthy spot right now as we, get ready to put a bow on this thing come Saturday.
Can you get a feel for special teams units in the spring? I mean, obviously individuals like Gabe returning, you'll have a new punter obviously this year. How important is it working on, I mean, special teams is so critically important to a football game. Could be the difference between winning and losing. You can get everything accomplished in the spring to get you ready for the fall? Yeah,
we highlight and we emphasize of the 4 units, whether it's punt block, kickoff return. We probably spend way more time on, punt and kickoff, the cover units, than we do the return units, because those are so critical. And there's so many game-changing plays that happen in the cover units in particular, that we get a good feel for that. And again, like with, Hunter coming in as a punter and Tashi, obviously Tyler, there's production there that we have to replace. He did that at an elite level. But again, having Gabe has been solid. He's been really good, and again, been vocal with that group, because with Ryan Wintermeyer moving along and Tyson stepping up as the long snapper, again, like Gabe's the guy who has the credibility within the specialist to really drive and push those guys going forward. But again, feel good about where we are. Coach Barton's our mad scientist, and he's always cooking up good stuff. But I feel, again, confident with where we are and the work that we've put in, and in all 3 phases feel really good as we attack this thing.
So in this new world, you've added the general manager and Caleb Davis to your staff. As we know in college athletics, there are portal windows that open and close. How's it been implementing Caleb and having him on the staff, and what role is he playing now and moving forward into the spring and summer? Yeah,
it's been great to have Caleb on board, right? And again, just shows the forward thinking and the innovation that the university has and our leadership has, and the support that they've given us, right? To bring in a really, really smart individual like Caleb to take some of that workload directly off my plate, right? And to be able to really be our director of college scouting and help construct and manage and build our roster to a championship level. So him and I and everyone in the organization is probably sleeping a little bit less here ever since we've hit April, coming back after spring break with this portal window that is fast approaching this week. And it's just, again, it's the nature of what we're doing and where we're at. But every single day, right, like we build these great relationships that allow us to retain our players here on the Mesa, and through the support of our community. And one of these days maybe we'll get some answers on what's going on with the House settlement to get a little bit more clarity, but we'll control what we can control with all of it. And Caleb being embedded within the organization, his knowledge, his smarts, and his bright ideas have been a great breath of fresh air to be able to push us forward as we build towards a great 2025 and into the future as we move to the Pac-12.
To that point about the portal windows and collectives and sustainability, what role or how critical has the Link the 619 campaign been through Aztec Link in terms of getting you to this point with all these returnees for next year? Yeah,
we're not in this position talking about all these guys with all this elite production if it hasn't been for the Link the 619 campaign, the great work that everyone behind the scenes at Aztec Link has done. Mike Coleman, J.R. Tolver, I can't say thanks enough to what they've done. And again, the support of the community, right? And so, challenged them at the end of December as we sat here, or early December rather, towards an opportunity for us to compete together. Just like winning championships, that's a day in and day out thing. It's a year-round deal that you got to do and that you have to embrace. And our community has stepped up, and looking forward to our community stepping up yet again as we go forward, as we make this final push here through spring portal to build a championship roster as we attack the last year in the Mountain West.
All right, let's talk about Saturday, this Aztec Fast Showcase, which I think is a really unique and cool opportunity for San Diego State football fans. What are you going to have in store for fans come this weekend at Snapdragon Stadium?
Yeah, it's going to be a really cool opportunity for the community to engage with our team. We've broken up the team ever since we came back the team has been broken down into 14 boat teams, right? So offense, defense, these accountability teams that we've been working together. And so we're going to compete on the 19th in those boat teams, different series of events, from games of dodgeball to catch and punts to relay races, and there's going to be opportunity for community members, both young and old, to participate with our guys to create a unique experience so that our community can truly be around our guys, get to know what great young men and great characters these guys are, and to feel their personality and to feel, the energy and the excitement around San Diego State football right now, and really bridge that gap right within the community and link the whole 619 right by having a great interactive day at Snapdragon on the 19th.
All right, Saturday, Snapdragon Stadium. Get there, Aztec fans. Again, the Aztec Fast showcase here in 2025. Sean, it's always a pleasure. We'll do it again later in the spring as we transition more towards 2025, but thanks as always for doing it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Go Aztecs.